Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to do experiment to find porosity. So first, I want you to imagine that the reservoir is a big sponge, a sponge that have many pores. These pores will able to store the hydrocarbon inside. So what we are going to find is how good is the reservoir to store hydrocarbon inside themselves. So we are going to find two things in order to find the porosity. So one is the grain volume and second is the bulk volume. So let's find the grain volume.
Before we start the experiment, we need to measure the diameter and length for all these samples to get the volume value. Use this apparatus or tools. After that, we put it inside here. Put it here, and then we lock. That's all.
Good morning, everyone. Right now, we need to measure the first one is the empty gas. The medium does not have any gas inside here. Then we need to choose this one for expand to the fan. Then off to the on. Okay. Then we open the gas valve. Then we need to measure here is 100 psi. Then we need to set up. Since we 100 psi, then we set up the first pressure to 95. We tell our best to get the 95.0 However, if it does not reach until 95.0, as long as this value is no more than 100 is enough. Then right now we need to start our experiment. Then we on it. We wait for a while. Later on, we go to the experiment. Here, this is our second reading for our pressure volumes. Then we need to, after this, we get the second reading for our first one. Then we need to do for the second, the first test. Then we'll put the smallest one right here. And we repeat the procedure that I explained just now above, and we regulated it to the 84, less than the 95.6, which is the first thing. As long as you less than it, then we repeat the same steps. Then we will get the second reading for our the second reading of the pressures for the first test. That's all for me.
For the setup, we have to break this vent and this one. After that, we have to turn off this.
Let's go.
After we turn off, we have to open this. Then we need to expand, so the gas will come up.
Okay, baik. Dah, di mana saya gerak? Oh, dah. Sudah tak ada dapat.
Next, the next procedure is we measure the length and diameter using caliper of the sample. After we get the measured length and diameter, we can use it to calculate the volume. Then after we get the volume, then we start the first step of the procedure. We put it here. Then close it.
Right now we go to the core plug. Just like so my teammate just now he put the core inside. Then we need to process to the to get the part basically of this core sample. Then we open this on, then we go to the part. Then we open the to make sure that it's on the 100 side. Then so we go to the on, we let off, and we will wait for a while, and we'll go to the off. Then we will take the readings of the reading of the pressure for this core. Go ahead.
Next, we will run this first. And on.
Okay,
We have to turn off the gas. To make sure the gas is
buat ini ke? Tak kan?
you need to open this.
Ambil kan, tak ni. Orang dah buat ni, buat video kan. Nanti awak tanya aku ni,
To
saya ada
expand the gas in here, will come up. Off. Then the detector will be zero.
Okay, so these are the data we get from the experiment. It is easy to analyze it. So let me show you how to analyze this data. First of all, you input this length and diameter into this Excel file here, and the Excel will calculate the volume for you. Right. Next, you input this calibration table, the reference pressure, and also the expanded pressure, and it also will calculate for you the P1 over P2, and it also will draw this graph for you and tell you the equation of it. And you take this coefficient, this 4 coefficient here, and input to the coefficient table, and you get what you need, the table testing table set up. Next, you just put the data from this core flux data table into this testing table. You will get the grain volume you want. Right, so you just input the P1 and P2. For example, in this case, P1 is 95, P2 is 10.6. You just put 95 and 10.6. Then you can get your grain volume. That's easy, right? So this is one of the way you get a grain volume. Another way, you use the table itself, you use the graph itself, right? You have P1 over P2, then you just go up and you go left, right? The Excel way is actually the calculation way. You use the calculation to find it. And these are the calculations. So which method is more accurate? The calculation is more accurate. Calculation method. So we get the grain volume. Is that the end? No, it's not the end. Our final goal is to find the porosity, right? So how to find the porosity? As you can see, the porosity formula here, right? We use the middle one, PB minus PG over VB minus VG over VB. VB is bulk volume and VG is grain volume. We have the grain volume just now. How about the bulk volume, right? The bulk volume we will get directly from, we get the volumes of the core plug itself, right? We have the length of it, we have the diameter of it, it is a cylinder in shape, so height times pi r square, you get its bulk volume, right? Put into the formula, you will get its porosity. So, and this is some of the concepts of the porosity. We have already found the porosity, right? So, what's porosity? Look at this. If we take 1 cubic from the reservoir, right? this whole thing here, we call it as bulk density, a bulk volume, right? The volume here is bulk volume. Means that we don't touch anything, right? This is one of this is same lah. This show here, this is under the microscope. However, the bulk density doesn't mean everything here is solid. There is pores inside. There is pores inside, and there is grain there, right? There is pores between those grains, so there is a volume of pores. There is a volume of grain. That's the relationship between the bulk volume, the pores volume here, PV, VP, right, and the volume of the grain. So either you use VP, the pores volume of bulk volume, you get the porosity. Also, you can get it like this, or the volume of the pores of volume of pores plus volume of grains, right? So look at this diagram above. The solid cube at the left is a sample of course. This is what I have just said, right? Okay, what I want to say is here. We can say that when the bulk density is constant, the larger the grain volume, the lower the porosity. Or another way, when the grain volume is constant, the larger the bulk volume and the higher the porosity. Right? That's all for the discussions in the way we analyze this data. Thank you so much.